Howdy, everybody out there. How's it going? Yeah, we got a really big show today. As I was saying on there. Howdy, Peter and Steve. Glad you made it, Peter. And Steve's here in the house. Yay, Steve. Anybody else is watching or wants to join in the conversation, feel free to jump in. And so I know you're here and all that good stuff. So anyway, today we're going to be looking and reviewing MX Linux because that's what the folks at Linux Saloon decided to review this week, so I decided to review it too. Yeah. Peter says he has MX Linux from Fluxbox. I can't really talk very good today. Fluxbox 32-bit installed on the Asus EPC 1000 netbook. Worked well, however, now installing Peppermint 32-bit on that machine. Yeah, I installed a Peppermint on the. I've installed Peppermint on a lot of things, matter of fact. It's crazy. I installed Peppermint on the. This older old Asus laptop was one I used back in 2010. Because it's got a decent amount of memory on it now, but at the time it had like 3 gigs of memory. Came with 2 gigs out of the box. And that kind of thing. But at the time I used it, I didn't have quite the hard drive it does now. It has a 1 terabyte hard drive on it. It's only because I bought one, stuck it in there, and that kind of thing. So, yeah, it works pretty good though. As far I haven't played with it a whole lot, but I've installed it and it's on there and it works overall. And I got PC Lens, of course, installed on my big Asus Aspire 5 thin laptop over here, which I'm running and watching, making sure everything's cooking over here. And I've got let's see what else I have. I have some other stuff. Any rate. Oh yeah, I installed it out on my desktop out there as well. And I asked my wife if she wanted me to install Peppermint on her computer that she's been using for her schoolwork, but I guess we'll wait till she's finished with school to do that. She's got about two more weeks, 2.5 weeks left of school, and she's done with that thing. She says it's too much for her, so it was good of her to try it, and it was good of her to learn a few things and that kind of thing, get back in the groove of going to school. She's well proud of her. She also just got her CPAP machine yesterday. Had her first night with it, and she did wonderful with it. She's really happy about it. Matter of fact, I'm usually up here at night late, working on stuff while she's sleeping over here in the bed, and she usually is real noisy, snoring and stuff and things like that. Didn't hear a peep out of her last time. She's soundly sleeping. Music to my ears. I'm glad it's working out for us so well. And let's see what else we have on news. The way we're doing. What else we got? My brew today is coffee. Papa knows everything cup. And if he doesn't know it, he'll make some up real fast. It's because I'm an author, so that's what they say. So, let's see. Anybody have any other news for themselves? Oh, let's see. I thought we had somebody else in here, but apparently not. Peter and Steve are the ones in here. Yeah. So Peter has one and I'm getting one. Yeah, I'm glad you're Yeah. You both use one each. Yeah, it's real quiet. I was expecting this Darth Vader thing to go type thing to happen, but then it's a real quiet machine. And she's real quiet too now. So best of both worlds, I guess. She likes it. She loves it right now. So Steve's getting one for for a CPAP machine too. It's amazing how many people have those nowadays. But yeah, there's a lot of people apparently were sleep deprived back in before they got these machines cooking. That apparently a lot of people were out of whack or something. It's kind of funny how they had the problem, how prevalent they become overall. I mean, I know one just off the top of my head about 5 or 6 people that we know from back in Texas that has used a CPAP. My father-in-law used CPAP. I don't know anybody on my side of the family that does. I think Dave, my brother, said that he tried to use CPAP one time, but he didn't like it or something like that, or couldn't get used to it or whatever, so he ripped it off his face, as he says on Facebook. So, yeah. So, yeah. Well, let's get cooking on MX Linux, hey? Yeah, and MX Linux, so go check out their website first, so we'll get a view of that, okay? And should see when it brings up is what we have here is a MX Linux website. And we have this download here. Where you can download it, it tells you hardware that you need, or where it can be put on, that kind of thing there, support, and cloud. I'm not sure exactly what cloud is, but anyway, apparently you can do things on the cloud with this sucker. So it also comes in XFCE, which is its, what do they call that? It's a desktop that everybody likes a lot. Yeah, it's can't think of the term for it for some reason. Anyway, it's featured desktop, I guess you could say. Can't think of the right word, being featured. And it also comes in KD, which I installed on this desktop up here. Actually, I got it cooking, so if anybody has any questions about that, I can look at that. And as Peter said, it comes in Fluxbox too. Now they also have the ability, they have a lot of spins on this because they have a lot of yeah, good luck getting still water constantly, Steve says about CPAP. CPAP take distilled water, but if you can't find any stores. Went to the store yesterday to get some, see if we find some. They had a big empty slot where all the distilled water usually sits. Gone. Yeah. Mine's a Kroger store. It's actually labeled King Supers. It's bought by Kroger, so it's owned by Kroger, so it is Kroger, so it had a lot of Kroger products in it. But yeah, it doesn't have too much like that. So anyway, if you go down here, download, you can download this. Now, this is also, you might be interesting to know that the MX Linux is a cooperative venture between the Anti-X and MX Linux communities. It's a family of operating systems that are designed to combine elegant, efficient desktops, high stability, solid performance. And MX graphical tools provide an easy way to a wide variety of tasks, while the live USB and snapshot tools here from Anti-X add impressive portability and remastering capabilities. Extensive support is available through videos, documentation in very friendly form. So yeah, very friendly form hopefully. I like Peppermint's form. It's pretty friendly there too. So yeah, and I read a thing. Well, I won't go in there right now, but maybe later when we're watching it update and stuff like that, because the installation on it's pretty good, pretty impressive actually. Let's go check it downloads and I'll show you what I downloaded. Now, flagship, that's what I was looking for, flagship desktop. XFC is our flagship desktop, it says. Now, you can download this 64-bit with standard 64-bit kernel and hardware support from the Debian stable, suitable if your PC is a few years old. Which, this one over here probably is, so probably work on it. This is what I'm running on the the virtual machine because it doesn't matter. It doesn't look at the kernel that or the system it's on so much, the host system. It just uses whatever it has there. Then you also get a containing a 32-bit PAE kernel from Debian stable suitable for systems that are 32-bit only. So that's what you want to download if you want to stay like Peter did, stick it on a machine. And then you got this AHS Linux. It's advanced hardware support. Now this is really exciting for me because I tried to install Debian on this framework that I got, which is a fairly new computer. It's got i5 on it for 11th generation. And this works for all users, but especially if you use the AMD Ryzen, AMD Radeon, RX graphics, or 9th, 10th, or 11th generation Intel hardware. So in other words, they up the kernel to 5.14 in it, and you get all this cool stuff about it. So I can actually run this, even though it's based on Debian, I can run it on this framework according to them. If I download AHS, that, well, that thing there, the kernel. Advanced hardware support. It's easier to say that than to say the initials, for me at least. Okay, let's see. So I downloaded both this one for maybe installing on here as a test or something later on. And this one is one we're going to install on their machine. Although I could install this, and it doesn't matter which one I install. Apparently this works for all users, it says, but especially if you use one of these systems here. So, but I'm curious as to how well it'll work on this. Now, the KD version also has a ADH thing in it. It says it somewhere else, but I don't know where. But not here. It didn't say stated here. So, there. And AHS repos enabled in KD's version. Fluxbox, I'd imagine, probably just is 32-bit or 64-bit, whichever one you're running on. Didn't say on there anything about ADH on it. So probably if you have a recent computer with the 9th, 10th, or 11th generation Intel hardware or advanced AMD Radeon or RX graphics, all that kind of stuff, for Ryzen CPUs, later ones. From that, I have appears on official spins by MS developers. Now, what's interesting is they have a way where you can create an ISO of your system, however you have it set up at the time. It'll create an ISO snapshot of it. So then you can use that ISO to create spins. So like you can install any Debian desktop you wanted on it, which includes Cinnamon and several other ones. I can't remember all of them, but there's several desktops you can get on there. I don't know if Bungie's one of them or not. Peter would know, probably, and that kind of thing. So yeah, Bungie is one of them. Peter, don't want Peter on me saying Bungie. Boing, 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 boing. Okay, so anyway, yeah, so if you wanted one of those, you can get them from some community spins. Community spins are just so posted in their forum, basically. People that have made spins. I saw one that had Awesome Window Manager and some other ones on there. So yeah, you can get pretty much most any desktop you want on there. And if you don't find it there, you can make it yourself and put your own spin on it. So yeah, I think maybe I might, well, I don't know. I have to think about that. I might just make my own spin of MS Linux at some point with not Arch, but with the Arco Linux Blue Arrow theme, awesome window manager on it. Be cool, wouldn't it? I like that theme. It's kind of cool looking to me, and it conveys a lot of information, a lot that it doesn't standard awesome window manager doesn't convey. But first you have to set it up right. So sometimes it's not easy, especially if you're looking to get the temperature of the things, of your CPUs and all that kind of stuff. That's a little more iffy. Anyway, let's get on with this sucker here. We're going to load this up and see what to roll. So that's that. Now let's go over here to boxes, and we will load up the not awesome one manager. I got awesome stuck in my mind now. We'll go here and downloads and move to the Linux folder here where I store all my ISOs at. And you can see I got some Manjaro awesome. I want to review it at some point, but I'm not sure exactly when. Here's we go. I just wanted to do the AAHS, so 64 version. Should we just go with that version? I think I'm going to try this at least once, see if it loads up like they say it will for every user. I've already installed this one time just to make sure it installed and worked okay. So we're going to load this up and see what it does. Sounds like an idea to me. Okay. Debian 11. This is distribution it's based on. Customize it. Now, normally I just leave the disk drive over here at 21.5, but I'm going to up it because it's got a special feature that I have to up it to at least 50 gigs to show it to you very well. Oops, I don't want to add that much memory. Down to 4 gigs of memory. Now I'll take this. Up it to around 50. There we are, 50, that's good enough. So 50 gigs of drive there and 4 gigs of memory. We will create that and see what she does. Okay. There's your MX21 AHS, I can't say that, X64. It was put out for November 22nd, so it's getting a little old ISO here. But it didn't have too many downloads on it, just because it is a Debian system, so you don't have to worry about it going on too much. So it's got a VirtualBox video, I guess how to install a VirtualBox. Also boot from hard disk. Switch to our bootloader, all that good stuff. So we'll just kick into it and watch the roast. Okay. And that installed pretty good overall. And you get this welcome menu where you can click on install MX Linux right away. Yeah, if you're on a regular computer, you probably want to, they put their bar on the side of here. It's a little disorienting for me since I usually have it on there, but you can switch it up. We'll show that a bit later. But yeah, if you want to put your network manager and turn on your Wi-Fi before you start the install. Not that you have to have it or don't need it. You have to use it, I don't think, but it's usually helpful because sometimes sometimes they want to go out and do things out on the web and things like that. So you never know. All right, so yeah, everybody's watching intently. I guess nobody else joined us, huh? Nate, you here? Oh, I forgot to tell him. Yeah, Nate wanted me to always send him a link to it right before I started, but I forgot to do that. Sorry, Nate. If you watch this after the fact, or if you're watching me out and just don't know it. Meant to do that, but forgot. Happened, I know. So anyway, this is MX Linux. welcome screen. Look at all this good stuff later on when we get in there. But we're going to install it for now. Yes, the only thing I do before I do this would be to set your network manager so you're connected to the network. Now this is their own unique installer, I think. I'm not sure who made it or what, but MX Linux installer is all it's called. So yeah, it's got a lot of interesting stuff here. It's got a live log over here, which gives you a log of all the things done, what's initiated, that kind of thing, in case you need to do some troubleshooting on it, that kind of thing. But also it's got general instructions. You can read all these instructions. Each page you skip to has new instructions as to how to do it. And it's pretty cool actually, although I don't want to have time to read all that, so I'm not going to read it all, but y'all can read it yourself. And it says here the MX Linux is an independent Linux distribution based on Debian stable. So it's got all this information here. Now the keyboard here, most of you are going to be on US keyboard, I think most of us. So we just change, but you can change the keyboard if you need to change the layout to a different country's layout, or you have a different keyboard altogether, a small one or whatever. I think 105 is your standard keyboard with keys and everything, which this one doesn't have that, but it works. It's all the same pretty much. So yeah, in most cases you're just going to select next, otherwise you can change keyboard settings and do that. Now here's the interesting part, why I ramped this thing up to 50 gigs of hard drive. It has a home slider over here. Now as long as if you have it all the way over, it's just going to be a combined root and a home partition it's going to create on your hard drive. But if you move it over, let's say you move it over to here, it's going to create a 12 gigabyte home, 33 gigabyte root drive. But you notice it's kind of red looking over here. That's because they recommend that you have at least 36, 37 gigs on it. So once you get up there, it turns black. That gives you guidance on how big to make your root directory, so you don't cut it too short for them. Of course, if you're on a regular computer, you probably have a much bigger hard drive than 50 gigs, I hope. This day and age, you need pretty much at least 500, 250, 8 gigs at minimum, basically. So your home directory would be a whole lot bigger if you cut it down to just 36 gigs of space for your thing. So I'd say like most computers probably want 50 gigs of hard drive space for your system root, and maybe the rest of it you can have for your home directory or your UEFI boot directory if you have that on your system. Yeah. So that's a convenient thing, because then you can create a home partition real easy without having to go into the down here to do customize disk layout type thing and do a partitioning with whatever partition manager they have there. It's pretty handy actually. So that's a convenient thing, and there's some advantages to having root. It says we have 96 new updates available. That's pretty small compared to like a system like ours. If you went for since November, you have a lot of updates if you had our system by now. At least 300 or more, 400, 500, 600, who knows how many. Anyway, you have your root drive. Yeah, the advantage of using a home partition is that, one, you can update your root files without having to reinstall home. You can just have it installed on the partition that your root's on. Your home is left totally separate and it's not messed with. That's one of the advantages of it. So there are advantages as far as the other advantages as far as the stability of your system, as I understand it, those kind of things. So you might want to think about doing that if you use MX Linux at any time. or even if you have to go through a partition manager or whatever distro you do load on your system, doing that. Most of the Calamar installers don't have a way to do this though, so that's a neat, convenient thing about this installation is that you can do this on the fly, just by moving a little slider over, however big. I guess you got it. So what are you going to do? Yeah, it says you got all information right here. You can read about it. And root partition will contain the operating system. Blah 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 blah. Home partition will contain data of all users. Blah blah blah. All that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's kind of convenient for that. Now you got to encrypt here. If you want to encrypt, and you put your encryption passwords, then that's helpful. Or you can select customize this layout if you want to partition your drives yourself. If you have a particular setup or system you want to use, go for it. Now this next part's going to be interesting because you're going to go next and say, okay, to format use entire disk for MX Linux. And you say yes there. And then what happens is it starts loading it up and installing files on it right there while you go through the rest of it. Now you might think, well, I got to wait for this to finish, but no. All this will go, so it's going to install grub for Linux and Windows. Location on MBR. System boot disk is BDA, which is virtual disk A, when we created. Now you click next while it's still cooking up here. It goes on to this other stuff. Computer name, MX. I'll leave that example .dom, even though the warrant group, so that's fine. For MS networking. So I'll select next on all that. And then United States American English, correct. Now I gotta change it to Mountain Time Zone here, which would be Denver. You gotta look for Denver. It's all alphabetical, so you have to scan up D's. There's Denver, Detroit, if you say Central Time Zone. There you can say your format of the time you like here, right here. And so, yeah, 1:57 p.m. and it's compared to 13:57 p.m. Yeah, it's military or PM/AM time. Now, service settings, just what service you run at start. Okay, here's where you can say your system services. Most people aren't going to know what they need, so they're going to leave it there most of the time. But you can do that. Have the option to set that ahead of time. So, go next. Now, here's where you enter your username. This is your login name. And set a password here. And you can set a root password here if you want to. Oops, I don't know what I just typed there. And you can auto log in if you so wish, although I wouldn't recommend it, especially if you got other people in the house. Face this computer. You also save live desktop changes. So yeah, so it says desktop modifications made in the live environment will be carried over to the new install environment. So if you modify some things on the desktop that you like it the way you wanted it, you could change over. Matter of fact, I should have done that before we started. So we could test that out. Snap. Yeah, that'd be cool. So anyway, but next. And then it's finishes installing grub. See, it's almost done. So that's the installation process right there. Yeah, it's a little bit different from a Calamar's type installation, but it has some advantages, and it has a little more settings in there that work for you. So yeah, it's pretty cool in that regard. So now we're done, and finish button's lit up. Automatically renew system when the installer is closed. So finish. It goes in reboot mode. Now it says it gives you the opportunity to remove your USB stick. we're going to go here and we're going to remove it from here. Properties, devices, move it. There we go. And we will press enter and let it rip. And it's called MX21 Wildflower. Wildflower. Wildflower, wildflower, wildflower. Yeah. Loading up. There it is, wildflowers. Just like you like my login system. And there's your welcome screen. You got your pack, user manual, your wiki, tools, tweak panel, etc. Your tweaks. You go forums, videos, contribute, popular apps, or tour. Want to take a tour, you can go there. Not sure what tour consists of, we'll try it out and see what we think. Okay. You go intro, panel, whisker menu, taskbar, conky, MX tools, MX welcome, MX tweak. In other words, it goes for all different things of how you can do it. MX snapshot, time shift, system info, and get help. So this is like for a brand new user to Linux even. You can use this to kind of get familiar with their system. Pretty nice actually. I like it. And you follow the trail all the way around through all these anti-X and Debian and XSC desktop things. That's pretty cool. We'll look at all this because it's too time consuming to go through all that, I think. But also be able to look at this in our menu later on, so we'll skip that part too as well. Here, if you want to show us dialog to start up again, you can click that. But otherwise, when you click close, it's the last time to look at it, unless you bring it up and out of the menu. So now let's set our display so we have a little bit better display here. First, I'm going to put no boxes full screen. Says it's at that. Yeah. And one thing I like about this, so that I tested out on here, was that I'll show you here in a minute, but the whisker menu pop-up thing will work. Oh look, it's already got boxes installed on this machine too. So I can install another virtual machine inside of a virtual machine if I wanted to. I don't think that's a good idea, but you never know. Might need that application someday. Let's see. Display. Yeah. What? No display. It's gotta have display. All these machines have displays. Well, if we're lacking a display, well, no Alt Control T for bring up the I don't want to do that. Oh yeah, I'm really down there. I confused. Okay. What's the other thing brought up? That's bringing up the menu all the time. That's weird. I wonder what the other menu was. Who knows? There's our display. We're going to set this at set at 116 Right there is recommended for this. Apply that. We got it good there. Looks good, doesn't it? Yeah, so first thing we're going to do is probably take this bar and put it somewhere more reasonable for me, so I won't bumble around on it so much. But yeah, I don't know what the menu is branded before is up here, and it's coming out of this thing up here. Interesting. Yes, right click menu, you got all these options. You can run commands, you can open a terminal here, open root, Thunar's root here. Find files here, create assembly, open a new window, arrange desktop icons, desktop settings. And we can look at wallpapers here. Yeah, I looked at these of course earlier, but that's my favorite one so far. It's a bee picture. Real bright and contrastful with the darker colors of this up here. Some of these hide like this. Can't already see the 37 up there. But yeah, some nice wallpapers in here though. You have to pick your colors so they're contrasting, but yeah. Ceiling, in case you like ceiling with lights, pictures. Ducks swimming away. It's kind of solar system view. It makes Linux on solar system. There's one in here is kind of interesting. A lot of these they're just wildflower pictures. Darker. This one. Water. And this is an interesting one here. Looks like an Linux logo subdued underwater along with the gear logos, and I guess it's a mouse or something. I guess that's SFC mouse. So it's all stuff jammed in here, sinking under the, being buried or something like that, I guess. Peter says, with my phobia, I change the wildflower background real quick. Yeah. Peter apparently has a phobia against wallflowers. Like some people have phobias about clowns. He has them about wallflowers, apparently. I guess he's allergic to wallflowers. Yeah. So the B one's my favorite one. I think I've gone with that in the past. But yeah. Got this here. Kind of nice little background with mountains off in the distance. And you got this here. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but anyway. It makes a nice logo there. All pieces of stuff. Interesting. Basically, like I say, you'd have to change the color of this clunky if you wanted to see that information. Set this flower. Set this here. Just kind of got into some of these. I'm going to look at them all probably. Here's a special one for you, huh, Peter? Yeah. So those are pictures. There's a lot of nice pictures in there. Come by default out of the box. I'm going to pick that one just for fun of it. So I can see everything on desktop pretty well. Close that out. Also put your own pictures in here if you wanted. I think Thunar has the, if I had a picture that I could stick on here, I would do it for you, but I don't have it installed, so I have to work to see if that happened. Do that, but anyway, right click on pictures a lot of times in Thunar, and there should be an option for you to set as your wallpaper. So you have plenty of wallpaper options if you have pictures to use. Let's see if we can set this panel somewhere different, okay? So panel, customize panel. Desk bar, lock panel. Now you could drag it around if you wanted to. Just have it right there in the middle of your screen. That'd be funny, wouldn't it? Now let's see. There's another panel thing that you can use on here too. Appearance, dark mode. It's obviously on. Background icons, opacity. Make that as transparent or opaque as you want. And items. Add, remove items. You click on add. You say like on a workspace switcher. You put that in or take it out or whatever you want to do. Pretty obvious what's what there. Add, remove. Your edit the current selected item. Like that. And if you had, let's say you wanted to take the clock. Like you picked the wrong thing for the clock. You add that. Of course, you have to know what the custom amount is. Get in here. You select your time. Let's say we wanted to add in some other stuff to it. Yeah, say we wanted to actually show a PM and AM on there in case you were not sure what time of day it was when you're looking at it. Save it out too late and you wanted to look at it. Capital P. I think that should give it that date in that format. See, now you see up here, it's got PM. Of course, there's the bar that way. It's not very kosher, is it? So anyway, you can edit any of those and customize them. The only thing it doesn't allow you to do is to switch it to the sides or front. You have to do that in another function, which you can get out of the box in your tweak section, panel tweaks. It's called. Image tweaks, there you go. Special image tweaks, panel. And you can put it on the bottom here. Display panel horizontally, not vertically. Put it on the bottom. And click apply down here, big button across the bottom. There you go. That's on the bottom. You see the full 6.4 p.m. So yeah, you do that. You also restore default panel back. Put it on top, whichever way you like it. Now on this other machine where I like it on top because it's right between the two screens, is I have my external monitor on top, my laptop monitor on the bottom. I have to put it right in between them so I don't have to move around as much. That's convenient. Anyway, you got that. You can go here. This is the MX theme, MX tweaks. You can set your things, all sorts of things like there. They set up this MX comfort. If you want it dark, which I probably would, because it's too bright for my eyes, all this white everywhere. Then I would cut it down to dark C. Of course, then you definitely might want to change up things. Anyway, I like that. Then you can change to matcha dark sea window themes. And here you can change your icons to some. So you want the light to contrast with it. Yeah. Shows what it looks like a little better. So, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty dark place. There's the next light. High contrast. You have trouble seeing them. And you'll add a way to add weight icon sets. Anyway, we'll just leave it there. Tango. I kind of contrast pretty with it. As is that. Also, have your window manager down here. It says window manager is down here. And you got your compositor. It's using the XFWM XFC compositor. Display is where you can set your display resolution as well. Sure it is, so we don't need to do that. You just change your resolution and apply here. Only thing I don't like about this, it doesn't have the keep function. So you screw something up on this, and then there's no easy way to get back to default using this app here for their display changes. But it does have some scaling here. It's got scaling here and it's got scaling down here. XR render scaling, GTK scaling up here. So there's no scaling to suit your boat, whatever it is. And you have to say your brightness level down here. Set at 1 apparently. So I'll leave it there for now. Configuration options. You said you enable super. I don't like to single click things, so I'll take all those off. Enable desktop zoom. Disable shortening of long file names on desktop. And enable hibernate on logout menus. And you need to have enough swap in there to be able to compensate for RAM. We don't have any swap there. In fact, they didn't really give us an option for swap, did they? One problem with the installer section, they didn't give you an option for swap that I recall, at least. I missed it if it was there. So that's one downside to it. And you got your other section. Reset light DM login screen to system default theme. Probably don't want to do that. Enable mounting of internal drives by non-root users. So password for administrative tasks, you use a user and use a root password. Like you set up a separate root password like I did. I enable it as root or I could leave it as user. I also enable kernel sandbox. Sandbox kernel may have something to do with the AHS support that they're talking about. Because I think if you put a 5.14 kernel in with Debian 11, you can have some issues with it occasionally like that. So enable sandbox so it doesn't interfere with the Debian 11 stuff as much. Or something like that, I'm sure. I don't know what I'm talking about. So that's the tweaks there. And we have our panel up here now. Same nice over here. Workspaces. Yeah, your Firefox. Let's see what version of Firefox we got out of the box on this puppy. Here to help about Firefox. Okay, but it's going to package manager. 94.0.2 is the version of Firefox just got in here. So, and it takes Firefox support if you accidentally click on it. So that's good. It's also your privacy notice, which you can read all about that there if you care to. If you're that kind of person who likes to read privacy notices, have at it. Alright, so that's Firefox. And let's see, we got File Manager Thunar, which is a nice file manager overall. Like I say, hey, it's single click to get a picture and click on it. And let's see if it has anything here for opening files. I probably have to actually click on a file, a picture file to open it as wallpaper. Peter says, no, change it. Talking about my wallpaper, you don't like the bee on the flower? You're too allergic for all that pollen over there? I can change some of them more generic for you if you want to. I don't want to unduly traumatize my viewers, do I? How about that? That looks better, don't it? Except I can't see anything. I'll do this. You're looking at a basket in the sky. How about that one? For now. Yeah, you're in a basket or wall or something there. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but it looks nice overall. Goes again fine with contrasting with the dark background, dark vision. So yeah. What's the buzz? PEP 32 bits running just fine on netbook, Peter says. Cool. So we got this here. And let's see, we got other things we look at over here. We got our volume icon, your network icon, and your, assume that's a paperclip. And like paste your paste file, your paste whatever. Here's your update button. Oh no, my updates. I got 96 new updates available. I need to change those, don't I? Okay, now this is interesting because you can click here, say automatically answer yes to all prompts during upgrade, which I'm going to check off for this. So you want to use this judiciously. I mean, Debian, you're probably safe on upgrades usually, but there may be times where you don't want to upgrade something right away or something like that. You want to do some additional things. Automatic close terminal window when upgrading complete. I would recommend not to do that if you can avoid it, because then you know when it's done. You can take a peek at it if you want to before you close out your window. Hopefully, I don't know if you can totally, but yeah, you'll be able to start the upgrade. Let it rip. So yeah, while it's upgrading, we can chat about whatever. That's like Steve's. That's like Steve's college wall background. Peter says. Steve's college. What college you go to, Steve? Interesting. I went to Bethany Nazarene College. It's called when I went there, but they changed the name about a year after I graduated to Southern Nazarene University. They wanted this bigger name, better, more just the name of the town, I guess, in there or something like that. So they changed it over the same. I don't know why, but they did. I always have to explain it every year. Every time I tell anybody what college I graduated from, I have to explain to them why they can't find Bethany Nazarene College on the map. That was 1984 when I graduated. So, yeah, you never know about that kind of stuff. Yeah. I was trying to think of some things. What else do we have in the air? Yeah, we got a lot of mentions before we get much further in this. We have you see us building up kernels and modules, kernels and stuff like that right now. Yeah, we have a Linux saloon coming up Saturday evening at 6 o'clock Mountain Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. If you're out the rest, I'm sure. And so be there or be square type thing. And I should start providing links in my description for that, shouldn't I? Makes sense, wouldn't it? Since I'm doing their review of the one they're going to review, everybody going to get together and talk about what they experience of it does on Saturday. So I'll probably be there. I say probably only because I'm not sure what's going on Saturday. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make it or not, but I'll do my best. If I'm available, I'll be there probably. So, there was an area that had a metallic looking background. Steve said he didn't go to college. My son had the night classes. I would stream from his school. Yeah, there's probably other ones we could select. Let's pick one that wouldn't cause problems with Peter. So, Peterman Spire spins. Who would have thought? Yeah. Hey, you have your own spins, Peter. You could shape out your flux box however you wanted, and once you got it looking just right and had everything set, you could take an ISO snapshot of it and have a community spin of it. That's an interesting thing about that. I have to try one of those community spins sometime to see what they are. Okay, so now we're at the end of our update at the update 96 packages. And press any key to close, it says. So once you press a key on that thing, now you can go back up if you need to look at something through here using your mouse. It's not a key, so it won't do it. Anyway, everything looks like it's installed fine on here. Not had any problems with it. And bada bing, bada boom, there you are. So we're now updated. Let's see now what we're gonna do here. Yeah, I say that myself, I think, boy, we won't get into politics here, but I feel sorry for Biden sometimes. He makes a simple statement like, what am I doing here? And then the next thing you know, it's all over the news. So, anyway, I'm not going to talk about politics because that can get contentious. But anyway, Peter says, I know Steve. I know, comma, Steve. He's responding Steve's comment about peppermint community spins. Peter Patterson Mint's better peppermint community spins. Yeah. Yeah, maybe you'll be up there someday where you'll be head of peppermint, Peter. Dishing out all this developer stuff and things like that. Could happen if you learned it. I know that's probably a long shot, but you never know. Could happen someday. Alright, let's look and see what kind of software it's installed in here out of the box. And one of the things I like about this Whisk View, well, usually with Whisk View, you gotta do a lot of clicking when you look through all these things. This has a cascading pop, not really cascading, but it's a pop-up, automatic pop-up cascading style menu in here. So we look at the accessories. You got all your standard ones you've seen before in Application Finder, Archive Manager, Bulk Rename, Catfish File Search, Clipboard Manager, Conky Manager, which is so is this one, and Conky Manager. I wonder if you can change your color schemes in here. Oh, it just turns on and off, apparently. That's how it manages it. Alrighty. Well, not that I'm all that crazy about Conky, but on the other hand. Okay, here you can go into it. Widgets, you can put your widgets in there. If I find something's interesting, there's a clock. Kiki Tower logo, it makes Kiki Tower logo. Barbecue digital colors. I'm not sure what some of these are, but anyway. Yeah, Conky RC, Conky RC no weather. Conkies, you can put weather apps on there, all sorts of stuff. All the conkies you can ever want. Elementary mix system. Yeah. So you got lots of options there. You can put there as conky. Or you can just click it, turn it off, which I think a lot of people probably would do anyway. Because you got the time up there and it's just in their way. So you can't see it most of the time unless you got a blank screen. So yeah. So anyway, let's check this out for more. Development. It's got Guinea on here, which is a text editor for coding, basically. And it's interesting. Pick. Games. They have like 3 or 4 games here. Looks like Standard Breakout and Mahjong and Peggy and Swell Foop. Whatever that means. You got graphics. You got your document scanner. Your G-Thumb viewer. Your packages. Lays Paint. They're kind of that Windows paint substitute. There you got Linux Straw. And there you got Firefox, non-PPP. Apparently you can dial up non-PPP. You can use a dial-up phone on PPP. But no. Thunderbird transmission for your BitTorrent client. You have multimedia here. You got this CD ripper up here. You got also audio mixer here. You got your pulse audio volume control down here. Which I accidentally clicked on, so there you go. And yeah, GMTP, a simple MTP client for MP3 players. Guess that'd be like playing your music player, I guess, or a digital music player. It's either music player or server. This is probably what Clementine uses or something. Pulse volume auto control, what you're looking at for. And you have webcamoid, which is interesting. It takes videos and takes photos and records videos with your webcam. You have this down here, which is expert. So you clicked on that again. My finger's being a bit itchy today, I'm afraid. So, have all these MX tools here, which is, you got a lot of things here. You got disk manager, you got the command line ATP based package manager, you got C-root rescue scan, brightness assist tray, about MX Linux, then you got format USB, device mount, job scheduler, using cron tabs obviously. You have your live USB kernel updater, MX boot options, and you have more stuff, goodies over here I'm sure too. And you have a lot of goodies actually. Yeah, see all these MX tools specifically built for MX. Here's one the gamers would want to know about is NVIDIA driver installer. So you can boot in, if you have an NVIDIA card on your machine, you can boot into on the new, whatever those things are called, the open source, call it that, open source graphic installer drivers for NVIDIA. They work on NVIDIA cards, generally, somewhat. Because you want a game on it, you want your real NVIDIA card, so you go here and you hit the NVIDIA driver installer and install a proper card for you. There's other things you can go on the net too to look up how to install NVIDIA cards, like the 510, those 513, I think, whatever card for system keyboard, system locals. So you have all those options here. There's if you want your roommate's welcome screen to pop up again because you wanted to access someone like the manual or wiki or something like that. You can do that. Your office is LibreOffice. Surprise, surprise, surprise. And you got full view ebooks right there. Pretty interesting. That ebook, most people don't put ebook managers in their distros, but this one did. So if you're an ebook person, you want that. PDF Arranger, which apparently you can modify your PDFs using this, merge them, that kind of thing. As well as you can have a PDF, QPDF view, which is a QDEEP application. So it's interesting that have a lot of GNOME in this, but yeah, they have a QD application there included in there. Settings, yeah, standard thing, Bluetooth adapters, appearances, advanced network configuration, all the standard stuff you see in XFCE basically. And system, which is your disk usage analyzer, GW package installer, gparted, G-Smart Control. So you got all the stuff in here you can look at. Decomp editor, copy toggle. So you bring back home just by clicking on that apparently. Your bash config and other configs. Now you can just go down here and click on this branch thing and get some of the same settings, except in more of a control panel layout type format. They have more than the standard XFCEs in here. They have all sorts of things like, let's see where ones is they put in here that are extras. System locale, system keyboard, advanced network configuration. If you want more than 2 workspaces, that's where you increase how many workspaces you have. Database tweaks, file manager settings, all that kind of stuff. But all right there. So system accessibility, firewall configuration, session and startup, ADSL/PPPoE configuration. It says if you have a phone system like that, you can set up in there. And what is that? iDevice mounter. It's Apple's something to do with Apple apparently. Apple device mounter. And it's a GUI for mounting and unmounting phones and iPads. iPhones, iPads. I think that's what I was looking at. I don't know if it's the same thing as Katie Connect, but I thought maybe it might be at some point. Yeah, so they've been talking about Budgie since Peter says Peppermint Budgie. That'd be interesting when I think you can install Budgie on there. But Budgie's a Budgie steps, but that's why I can see Budgie being used in the future and lots more distros, Peter says. Yeah, I bet it will be. And I've got actually on this machine I have here as a base operating system, have Manjaro Budgie on it. So, and what I like about it so far is that Manjaro stayed pretty stable, and it's Budgie, as Peter likes to say, stays out of my way. At least I haven't had any issues with it lately, so that's good. Then it's popped up and said, hey, do this, do that, I need help here. Okay, I want to show you one other thing on this at least. And it's basically application shortcuts. Actually, I need window manager shortcuts, not application. But I want to look at this first, yeah. Excuse me, my eyes got some in them or something there. Bing. Keep my eyes open. Hi, how you doing? Oh yeah, Budgie. So anyway, we're going to application shortcuts now. Usually what you have in here, you'll see the XFC4- pop-up -whisker menu setting. It usually has super to underline L, which means left super key, window key on your machine. It's usually how you can open the menus, just hit the Windows key, or super key as we like to call it in Linux land. Or some people call it the meta key, but they refer to it as super key here in XFC stuff, so that's what we'll talk about it. So anyway, yeah, so usually that's what you find in here, and also you had problems. Steve says, Rick, that usually happens to me when I see Peter. Oh, where you can't get your eyes open? Yeah. So anyway, yeah, you see it over here somewhere on most XFC application menu shortcut keys established, but you don't see it here, do you? No option here for that, but it does work. It's when I press on Windows key, boing, it pops open, pops closed, just like that. Well, they obviously put it somewhere different because one of the problems I've had with XFC in the past is that it tends to open the menu when you push down on the button. When you release the button, then that's when it should show up, because then what happens is, so you set up a key like Control Q, Super Q for closing windows, then it won't close the window. It'll do nothing. Or like if I have another program open up with it, with a super key, another key combination, then it'll open up the window and the menu and the window that I'm the application I'm trying to open up on it. So anyway, I'm just going to show you that there was no entry in here for super dash underline, super underline L, like you normally see in XFCE. And that's indicate they changed it out. So now, window manager, go over here to the keyboard. Now, here's close window, which I do change. I like to change it over to Control Q, because that's how I learned it. You maximize window by hitting Super X over here. Shows it right there. So yeah, they use the super keys as well. And they will close the window now. If I hit Super Q, window goes away, no menu pops up. So it pretty much works out of the box like that. That's one of the things I wanted to show you everybody how that worked. Now if if this stopped working like it did on Peppermint, Peppermint's really funny because for a while it was working correctly like it did here on Linux Mint, but then at some point something changed in the underlying XFCE system where it reverted back to its default behavior, which was to open up that. But I think this is probably more permanent since it's not listed in the application menu as super underline L like all the rest of them are. I think it probably stay good on there. So yeah. So anyway, I can't remember if there's anything else on Linux. I'm sure there's a lot of other stuff that you can do on Linux. I could probably spend all night on this, but yeah. So there you go, Linux. I like it quite a bit. I'm interested to try it out on this machine, but I really hate to do any disk hopping on this machine for a while because I want to let it sit on this until. But if Manjaro breaks at some point, does an update, and it goes, ugh, dies off on me, I might consider putting MS Linux on this machine. It has a combination of having the AHS thing, so it would probably work on here, where Debian 11 won't work on this machine because it doesn't have advanced enough kernels to do so yet. And I think if I remember right, I think this is like on, can't get the terminal open. There, terminal, yay. So, yeah, I think this is uname. This is running 5.14 kernel. So yeah, this is running the 5.14 kernel. The other one would be 5.10 probably, some point, I think when I installed it on here. I think it's 5.10.0.11 or 13 or something like that. 200, whatever they call it, kernel. So this is advanced kernel, so it's probably running on this machine if I was running on directly off this laptop here. Cool. And let's just check this out. Hey, they have Ace chopping saw out of the box in here too. So yeah, it's doing 755 megabytes memory and 4 gigs of data. So that's not too bad. I mean, it's a little high for XFC, but it's Peppermint. Peppermint, I got it down to 302 at one point by disabling a couple of things. We've been opening and closing a bunch of stuff, so it may be affecting this too. And the interesting thing is, it looks like it has some kind of swap file going on or something. Even though it didn't set up a swap partition, it does have a swap file. 2.36 gigs. So we're a little over half of the memory, RAM memory is a swap file. Interesting. Must be doing swap to file because I don't think we set up any partitions I'm aware of in there. Unless it did automatically without telling me it was doing it, which is not a good idea. So, yeah. So, that's good. Yeah, I can run the MX Linux pretty easily on here. Especially the XFC version if now it'd be interesting to, because I got installed a Peppermint over here on my Acer machine, and it's got you also use XFCE menus. I had to install Escape on it to get the menu to work the way I want, and had to also get the what's the other issue? It's almost lost my train of thought here, I think. Anyway, I think I get some water. Anyway, this Acer machine over here, it would be interesting to install on there too, MX Linux at some point maybe. Not today, not tomorrow. Someday maybe. But I like having Debian-based systems on this one because it's pretty stable that way. It's like Peppermint is pretty stable now. They're using Debian base. Nothing Ubuntu is unstable, but yeah. Yeah, you don't have as many updates and that kind of thing to worry about breaking your system. And it doesn't have as many opportunities to break your system as Arch-based ones do. Which some people can manage those better than others. Some people have more time to manage those better than others. I don't. So I'm glad they went to Debian base. Works for me. That's what Neptune was on. This is purely Debian. It's about the closest thing you get to Debian without it being Debian. Peppermint is. So that's good. This MX Linux, I think they do have some repositories if I'm right. Let's see. SS Synaptic Package Manager. Then we go here. Check settings, repositories. Debian security. Here's a MX repo. Bullseye. So yeah. You got a little bit of modifications and a little bit of repos there. Of course, Peppermint also has a code source that's kind of their substitute for repos that like this has, So yeah, code block, or I can't remember what it's called now. Code whatever. Yeah, Peppermint has that, so that's where they're putting their stuff basically. Their specialized applications. But MX Linux has two repos there with these. So it's about as close as you get to Debian without it actually being Debian is one of these systems. Of course, there's a lot of systems based on Debian, which probably are like Linux Mint, Debian Edition, which I've used before. It's pretty solid. But these have modifications, those don't a lot of times, so yeah. So, any comments from the crew over here? Steve says I have to go get my son. Have a great night, Ray. You too, Steve. And I think it's about time for me to end this thing before we get too much loss of thing. Thank you, Peter, for being here. Thank anybody that didn't say anything for being here and viewing this. And I guess that'll be it. That was MX Linux. Probably more I didn't get to on it, but like I said, I could be all night here probably demoing this thing if I wanted to. So that's a good overview of it. We'll get into more later. Next distro next time. Just waiting for them to do the Arch install. That's going to be fun, won't it? Watch me do a line install of Arch. I've done it before, actually, but it's been a while, so it'll be fun attempting that when we ever get around to it. So anyway, have a good night, everybody, and may the Linux Force be with you. Bye.